Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Talk About the Magic podcast episode. This is episode number 9 of Talk About the Magic. I'm so grateful that you have joined me today. Thank you so much for joining me on this podcast, whether you're listening in your car, working out, whatever it is that you're doing. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I do apologize. Last week I did not post one. I planned to post one, but I just got so busy because we actually went to Disney World. And I just got stuck doing a lot of last minute things that I thought I was prepared for, but I was not. So I do apologize. For that. But I'm back now, and it's time to go over some major news that happened this week. Now, with some of this news, I'm more surprised than I am with others. This one I'm not that surprised about, but I am surprised that it happened so quickly. If you're not aware already, Disney had already been posting some signs up regarding selfie sticks being on rides. Now, I spoke about this in a previous podcast, and I spoke about this on my YouTube channel, Disney Vinylmation Unboxings, which was basically, it makes total sense for you not to take selfie sticks on a ride, because if you drop it, if it hits something, I mean, you could hurt somebody else, or you can break your camera, and you could try to sue Disney. I mean, there's just so many different things to go about of why a selfie stick on a ride makes total sense not to have. But just this week that just passed, Disney, effective June 30th, actually, of 2015, Disney no longer allows selfie sticks inside the park. Now, this is really, really interesting because, like I said, I'm more surprised the fact of how quickly they did this. This wasn't something that they planned in the sense of saying, by June 30th of 2016, no selfie sticks, all selfie sticks will be banned in the beginning of the park. They didn't say that. They said, starting next week, no more selfie sticks. So I don't know if maybe an executive got hit or something that they just said, we got to get serious with this. And just like that, the selfie sticks are not allowed. Now, what will happen if you take a selfie stick is a cast member let me try that again. A cast member guest relations. There we go. I couldn't figure out this word. Okay, cast member guest relation is going to be there in the front, and basically, if you take a selfie stick, they're going to say, "Here's your two options. You leave, or you can leave your selfie stick here. I'll give a ticket to you. You can go into the park, have fun, and when it's time to go, bring me the ticket. I'll give you your selfie stick back." So, on the paper, it seems like no big deal, but recently, again, if you guys aren't following me on Periscope, download Periscope. It's free and it's fun, and we Periscope nightly about Disney, different things. But this is one of the topics we were talking about, and someone wrote on there basically that they just bought the selfie stick because they were going to Disney, and I thought that was so interesting because that's exactly the point that I thought. There's so many people who are coming from different countries, different states, that actually invest in a selfie stick because they hear so many good things about how you're able to take such a great shot or great video using it, and they get excited. They buy it. They go to Disney. Now they're going to be told you cannot take it in. So I don't think anything major is going to happen as far as Disney goes, losing kind of customers. I just think it's real interesting that Disney did this. Like I said, it makes sense, but to not have selfie sticks in the park itself, I'm kind of surprised about. Now, I had an experience at Walt Disney World. I was eating at a restaurant. I saw three young ladies actually using selfie stick to take a picture. The problem is they did not really pay attention to their surroundings, and quite a few people had to kind of maneuver out of the way because even though people were telling them, excuse me, I don't know if they didn't understand the language. Maybe they weren't from here, or they just were so caught up in their picture they didn't care, and they weren't moving. And so it's interesting because I saw that, and before the news came out of it being banned, and I thought, wow, maybe this is an issue. I had read also from different people who had experienced issues where somebody took a selfie stick on the ride, and they actually stopped the ride and had to basically hold everyone there while the cast member basically got the selfie stick away because it was an issue. So it's interesting that Disney did this, and like I said, I'm not surprised they did it. I'm just more surprised at how fast they did it. They literally probably about 2-week warning is what they gave basically. And one of the people who I talk with on Periscope, he was telling me that actually his friend who was taking in a tripod, which is not a selfie stick. You can actually take tripods into Disney World, was given a really hard time because this cast member felt like it was a selfie stick. So I think that's interesting too, because I'm wondering, is this going to extend to different kind of, hardware that Disney will say, you know what, it's just better not to bring anything in. And then because here's what's interesting about the selfie stick. Like, everyone says like, oh, okay, it makes sense, don't take it. But you have to think about this. How many times has Disney, or any theme park for that matter, said no flash photography? And you're on the ride and boom, a big flash. How many times have you heard, please do not take video recording, and everyone flips out their phone? So my question is more about the point of, at what point will Disney basically say like, okay, you know what, you can't bring anything in? I don't think that'll ever happen. I mean, because I think they'd be the only company. But that's the thing. It's a kind of a give or take relationship. It's either Disney has to either give into the fact that people are going to record, take pictures, and they're going to use some type of thing to hold the camera steady, or they could say, you know what, you can't take this thing to keep the camera steady. And now that we're at it, we'll just go ahead and say you're not going to be able to actually take pictures or video because we don't want people to be able to see the show. So I find it very interesting because, like I said, being there at the park, I saw that. I said, wow, these girls don't seem to really care or pay attention or know that these people are all around them trying to get around and they're in the way. And I was on the Little Mermaid ride, and 3 times flash photography happened where you just, boom, completely blinds you. And obviously, the cast member didn't run and like, hey, that needs to stop. No, we just all were like blinking like the fish. And so to me, it's interesting because, like I said, it goes back to more of at what point will this either just, you know what, forget it, let everyone bring anything they want, or say, you know what, forget it, nobody can bring anything of what they're, wanting to do. So again, this is to me an interesting thing, and obviously if it develops more and more, I'll be talking about it. But I'd love to know your opinion. You can go to talkaboutthemagic.com. This is episode 9, so just look it up there, and you can comment below and let me know how you feel. If you think it's a silly rule, if it makes total sense to you, are you pro selfie sticks? Are you anti selfie sticks? Let me know there. Now, in other news, 2 big stories that, again, I did not expect, and then it was just like, bam, there it is. I'll start off with this one first. Because it doesn't affect me as much. I don't know, maybe if you're from Florida, it affects you. But Disney Quest is closing. There is no information as far as if it's going to reopen in another area or in another format, but Disney Quest officially is closing. And it'll be closing in 2016 because they are going to be making way for the new attraction that'll be called the NBA Experience, and that's National Basketball Association. And the experience, and it's going to include a restaurant, it's going to include store, and obviously it'll probably have some type of entertainment. Disney Quest, if you're not aware, it was basically what it still is. It doesn't close 2016, but it's indoor entertainment, video and virtual video games, like 3D style video games are there. It opened in 1998, and it's on the west side of downtown Disney. The indoor interactive theme park had some of the favorite rides like Virtual Jungle Cruise, Cyberspace Mountain, and what's the third one called? Was it Might Ducks Pinball Slam, I believe. But in other words, it was very popular, obviously. But they're closing it. As you know, they're already doing the Downtown Disney to Disney Springs. They're doing a lot of changes with that. But I don't think anybody expected for them to close this the way they just did so abruptly. And then on top of that, to replace it with something like the NBA Experience. I myself personally love basketball, so I'm actually excited about this. But I know a lot of people out there could care less about basketball and actually don't feel that Disney and NBA don't go well together because they have nothing to do with each other. And while that is kind of true, you got to remember Disney does own ESPN, which is a sports channel. So it does cover basketball as well as baseball, football, soccer, and who knows, like all the sports actually. But so it kind of does make sense for Disney to kind of fit in. And the reason why I think Disney is going with the basketball approach, me personally, is because I think they're a little more friendly as far as not friendly, but it's easier to get into, I should say. Basketball has superstars. And I'm not saying none of the other sports do. Of course they do. But the basketball superstars have been able to kind of go multicultural. They're in every country in the sense of because the NBA recently has kind of struck a deal. They've played in different countries, scrimmage games and preseason games. And then we see a lot of the NBA stars actually go overseas to play. Whereas if you look at soccer and football and stuff, there are stars, but like, does someone from Japan know who Troy Aikman is? Well, maybe Troy Aikman because he's Troy Aikman, but does he know? I don't know. I can only think of really, really famous athletes, but does he know the normal kind of Daryl Strawberry? Let's say probably not. Unless they're into baseball. And I'm not saying those countries don't play baseball. Of course they do. Most countries actually play all the same sports we do. Even now football is getting into some of them, even though it is mostly here. But what my point is what I'm saying is, out of all the leagues, even though like it's funny because like for instance, baseball has tons of different people from different countries on the teams. Soccer, of course, has tons of different players from different countries on the teams. But basketball as a league is only the main league that I've seen, besides actually soccer, to actually branch out and try to make the actual sport known, not players. For instance, soccer is in America, but a lot of people don't know about soccer, mostly because it's really hard to get into. There's really no kind of channels that expose it. There's really no kind of, you either got to know when it's on or you got to know where to go to see it. Whereas, like I said, the NBA itself has really gone out of its way to show its colors in different countries and in different areas that normally don't get it. They played in Mexico, Germany, where's the other ones? I believe Russia. No, maybe not Russia. Forget that one. I don't think they played Russia. Excuse me. I don't think they played Russia. But they played different countries to really kind of expose their brand, their style. And of course, Michael Jordan was a huge help when it came to bringing kind of stardom in there. So to me, in my mind, I think the reason why Disney jumped with NBA is because they have a lot more people that they could use to kind of hopefully get more people into Disney. You have your Dwight Howards, LeBron James, who right now is arguably the best player in the NBA. You have, of course, the Spurs. That's me being biased. But you have, Kobe Bryant. You have so many players that can kind of shine on their own and help bring people into it. Now, will it be successful? I don't know. I mean, I personally think Downtown Disney or Disney Springs in itself is its own kind of living thing that's separate from the parks, and it's successful more, I would always say, more for the restaurants and for the shops. I think anything like Disney Quest and NBA Experience and anything that comes that is that style of entertainment will always be secondary. It'll be more in the sense of, I'm going to eat and shop. Oh, look, there's this too. That'll be fun. Whereas I don't think, I mean, of course, when it's barely open, it will be, but I don't think there's any situation where they're like, we got to go to Disney Quest. Like, most people who go to visit Disney in Florida go to visit the parks, and then they go to Downtown Disney to go to shop. They're not like, oh my goodness, Disney Quest is going to my life. Maybe there are. Maybe there's some. But from what I've heard of it and what I've seen of it, and from what people who live there have told me, it has kind of slowed down. And I'm just more surprised in the sense of, I feel like Disney doesn't need to close it down. That's where I'm more shocked. This has been around since 1998. Why would you shut it down now? And that's my only issue with Disney. They seem to really enjoy to shut things down instead of just moving them or making them smaller so it'll work better in that, in that finance category, I guess you would say. And then the third thing that surprised me, and this one really got me pretty bummed out, is that the Magic of Disney Animation in Hollywood Studios is also closing, and that's closing in July 12th is what they're saying. Now, if you're not aware what that is, this is in Hollywood Studios, and it basically is an area of animation. When you go in, there's you can learn how to draw. That's where you may have seen like art class and stuff they see on YouTube from Disney. That's the area you would do it. They have character meet and greets as well in that area. They have the story of Walt Disney there. It's like a 10-minute kind of show showing it. I will say this, it's very slow paced there. It's in no way kind of like a ride where you're kind of trying to hustle and bustle around. It's a much more relaxed area, but I'm still surprised that they're shutting it down. In that area as well, you would find, like, the Oscars from the films that have won them, different kind of art clips and cartoon clips and all this kind of animation stuff that's been original art that was used for Toy Story, like all that kind of neat historical stuff. And so they're closing it now. Are they closing it forever? Rumor has it no. The rumor has it they're expanding it to make it bigger and better. But what makes me nervous about those words when it comes to rumors like that is because what defines bigger and better? People were happy with this. And so, of course, you trust Disney that they know what they're doing. They're going to make this better in some way. But what you don't want to happen is that Disney becomes stubborn and says, this is better, and the people don't like it, but Disney still says it's still better. There's a couple rides, for instance, Disney, from the Figment Imagination ride there, I couldn't say it, that I personally don't like. I prefer the original, and they got rid of it and made it more, with the TV screens and more quote-unquote, cool, whatever word you want to use. And so it's one of those, and there's tons of people. You can find communities that hate the new version of the ride. But Disney obviously is like, no, it is what it is, perfect. And that's fine. Disney can do that. But at the same time, that's what scares me about it, because there's sometimes where you're like, I remember riding the Star Tours ride prior to the 3D generation and all that. And it was much more, well, I wouldn't say it was better, but it was definitely a different experience because the droids were there, they were real, they were, you had R2-D2 next to our C-3PO, and now it's C-3PO and a big screen TV with 3D, and it's still fun because the ride is fun, but that's what I mean when I say the changes that happen. There's changes that could happen for good and changes for bad. Oh my goodness, let me tell you a great change. One that I did not expect. American Idol Tour is also closed down. That I did not know that. I went there and I was like, what happened here? And in its place, they put Frozen Sing Along. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm tired of Frozen. But that's exactly what I was thinking when I saw it too. But you know what? I went in and I saw it, and I was blown away at how good that show is. It is a great show. And I think it's really funny how even in the show they kind of poke fun of the fact that, everything is frozen. But that's what I mean when I say there's some things that can be done right when it's needed to be done. American Idol Experience needed to go because Fox canceled it. 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now, people forget about that show and they go to Disney and they're like, what's this? That makes total sense to get rid of it. But at the same time, there's things where it's kind of like, why would you mess with something that's working? And then if it's working and you feel like it could be better, then just a little bit here and there. Why do you completely shut it down, renovate everything? And that's just my personal pet peeve that I have when it comes to anything. Even on the highways here, it bugs me. I say, why did they shut down the entire road and break all the road and then just leave it there? Why don't they just fix one part of the road first? But it's the same thing where, you have this great thing going there and then all of a sudden they shut it all down. That whole area is shut down because they're going to close it off and they're going to work on it. So all these people who bought tickets, who are coming for the first time, maybe the last time, or maybe they won't come back for many, many years from now. And it's like, oh, they don't get to see that. And to me, that's the sad part. I wish they'd be able to, because there's so much history there, so much knowledge there, and it's such a great thing to see. And it's unfortunate that when these kind of changes happen, and I know they're needed, they're definitely needed. You can't keep it the same forever. I just feel like I wish it could be done better, so people could still experience the magic in those areas prior to the complete change, because they just shut it all down, and it's like, hey, if you missed it, you missed it. So that's my only issue when it comes to that. But that was a busy week for Disney this week. I'll tell you, that 3 of those stories, as far as those closings and the banning, I was surprised Disney came out with those so quickly. So, but, at the same time, like I said, I'm interested to know what's going to happen after this. Is this going to affect the different parks? Are we going to see different versions of the selfie sticks come up to where it's like, if Disney says the selfie stick is, 15 inches long, will there be new selfie sticks that are 13 inches long? I mean, who knows? So this is just, it's, like I said, to me, it's a tip of the iceberg. It's gonna be very interesting to see what happens. But I think either way, it's just that's part of the nature of it. You got to go through these kind of things, and hopefully learn from mistakes that happen and keep going forward to make the experience as magical as you can for the customers. But I want to thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast again. This was a little longer than usual, but that's just because we had so much to cover today. So thank you so much. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast, rate it, review it. Let me know whether you like it or don't, what I could do better, or what I'm doing well. It helps so much. Be sure to leave a review wherever you're listening to the podcast at. As well as you can check out talkaboutthemagic.com. There you'll find all my links on Facebook, Twitter, and everything like that. So that way we can communicate that way. And then the other thing that I've added now, which the link should be in, or at least the information should be in the show notes, is Periscope. Periscope is an app you can get on the iPhone or Android only. It doesn't work on computers, but it's such a neat app of live streaming. Just download the app and look for Disney Magic News or the hashtag staymagical. Just hashtag staymagical, and hashtag is the number sign. And you'll find me there. Follow me there. I do daily, not necessarily day in the day, but like the daily, you know what I mean? Whether it's in the day or the night. I'm sorry, I just went off there. But daily periscopes regarding Disney. So, and then every Friday, I'm actually starting to do periscopes of Disney Magic News. So the Talk About the Magic YouTube channel is going to focus more on the Disney trips, the rides that I've, gotten on, and the video camera as far as showing the video of the rides, as well as a new thing that I'll be bringing out if it's not already up now, but it's a Disney Facts. So that's going to be fun to add to the channel. But the Disney Magic News will probably be covered mostly on Periscope because it's fantastic. You guys can talk back with me. We can communicate and discuss that way. So if you haven't already, please be sure to get that Periscope app 100% free. Find me there and follow me, and I'll be sure to follow you back so we can communicate to each other. But again, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I hope you have a great night, day, weekend. Whenever you're listening to this, I gotta remember to stop saying watching this. Whenever you're listening to this, and as always, guys, stay magical.